The Golden State Warriors, over the past few decades at this point, have been an absolute dynasty in the NBA. They've been one of the best teams to ever be assembled together, and they've just been an unbelievably great team. Basically, since the 2014 through 15 season, they have been unstoppable, and they have accomplished more than what most franchises have accomplished in their entire history of existing, and it's really all revolved around basically the same three players, being Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. And like I said, they were just able to accomplish ungodly amounts of success together over the past decade of play. And speaking of all the success and awards they're able to look at, let's just kind of give a summary of what they've been able to accomplish since winning that first NBA championship in 2014. Since then, they have made 6 final appearances, they have won 4 NBA championships, they have produced 21 All-Star appearances, 15 All-NBA selections, 10-time All-Defensive selections, a Defensive Player of the Year, they have the win percentage record and the win record in a single season, and they have 2 MVPs as well. There is, like I said, most teams who have never produced even half of what they accomplished in just basically the past decade of basketball. So it is undoubtedly one of the best teams, if not maybe the best team, to ever be assembled, and they have seen tons and tons of talent. Now, yes, they've had other guys help. They've had Jordan Poole, they've had Kevin Durant, they've had Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston. Like, they've gone through a lot of different, very successful role players, but one thing that has never changed is that core big three that has just always been there in Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green. But unfortunately, although they have been super successful and even won a championship just 2 years ago, not that long ago, it is looking like that golden era is starting to come to an end, and it's looking more and more likely that the end is much nearer than it is to not being, okay? And a lot of that is doing around the whole Klay Thompson situation. No, I'm not just saying this because Klay Thompson had a bad last game of the season in the play-in. Now, yes, he had a horrible last play-in game, of course, but to sum up an entire season over one game is a little silly. And people are acting like Klay Thompson is just completely awful is a little bit of an overreaction. Like, he's not a terrible player by any means. He's far from what he was in his prime. His defense has definitely fallen off a cliff, and his shooting isn't even where it used to be. But to call him a terrible player is a little silly, in my opinion. He still averaged around 17 points per game. Is a very solid player. He's just no longer, I think, good enough to be the second option on an NBA Finals winning team. And unfortunately, I think that is just his reality going forward. And with him most likely still going to be demanding a lot of money in free agency this year, there's a very real chance that Golden State might just not want to pay him all the money that he's asking for, and someone else will. So that was going to end up resulting in him going to a different team or a different situation, which I don't even think would be a completely bad thing for Klay Thompson or the Warriors. I think both of them could find success if they kind of had a breakup of sorts. Now, yes, there's still a chance they're going to bring him back, but I think more than likely a team's going to offer him a lot more money than the Warriors are willing to offer him, and I just think overall Klay Thompson will probably end up leaving the Warriors this offseason. And although it does sound very bad to be losing a part of a core that has been together their entire career and have had so much success together, yes, it's sad to see an end of an era, but I don't think it's all bad for the Warriors by any means, because the Warriors have a legitimate path forward, because luckily for them, and not even luckily, they have been a fairly solid drafting team for a while now, and honestly, outside of a few misses, that's kind of what kept them going, because they've had a great last year's draft. As Brandon Podziemski, although it wasn't amazing or anything, he had an extremely promising and solid rookie year. I think for sure his future's pretty bright, and he could easily be their future at the shooting guard position. Now, they might sign a guy to start over him, but I think at least as a backup shooting guard, he is going to be in their rotation for a very long time, and he has a potential to be an extremely solid player for them going forward. Steph Curry, in my opinion, still one of the best players in the NBA. Maybe he's not the MVP level who he used to be at, but he is still absolutely a superstar level player. Andrew Wiggins, I think, should be able to still be able to probably get back to his old self. I know this year it was a far cry from the Andrew Wiggins we usually know, but I think that's more of an outlier year, and I think he's going to be able to get back to what he was, and I just think that this year was kind of a rough year, and hopefully he can get back to what we know he can be. Draymond Green is still an extremely solid player in his own role. Yes, he can't score the ball, but he's never been a scorer. He's still an energy guy, enforcer guy, rebound, play solid defense, and I think he can still start on a championship team. Now, he definitely can't be a even third offensive option on a championship team, but I think he definitely plays his role and definitely provides a lot of value to this Warriors team. Trayce Jackson-Davis is looking like one of the best picks in the entire draft last year. Now, he's not one of the best players, but he's extremely solid. He was the final pick in the entire draft. I don't know how he fell that far, and he just played extremely solidly, and overall, I think he is going to be a great backup power forward for them for a very long time, and maybe even if Draymond Green falls off a cliff, he could take that starting role and legitimately give them extremely solid minutes because he is a very solid player. And then even the cum bucket, Jonathan Kuminga, comes out of nowhere, almost put on a most improved player performance. If he would have done it all year, he 100% would have won it, but he basically, ever since the All-Star break, he has been playing insane, as in the second half of the season, he averaged 18.6 points per game, 3 assists per game, 5.3 rebounds per game on 53% shooting from the field and 34% shooting from the three-point line. And if he can do that all of next year, that would be unbelievably huge for them as well. Now, do I think the cum bucket is going to be this effective all next year? Probably not. I don't think the three-point shooting is legit enough, and I think his field goal percentage is up because he shoots a lot of dunks, but his mid-range game did legitimately improve this year, and I think he could at least be an extremely solid role player for them going into the future. And I think with all that being said, they definitely have a path forward. They can develop the young guys they have. Andrew Wiggins needs to just get back to what he used to be able to do. And then I think overall, with some other free agency additions and maybe some trades, this team has a legitimate path forward to become at least a playoff level team again. And then even, they have trade pieces. Like, they have Chris Paul, they have Jonathan Kuminga, they have Brandon Podziemski, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Andrew Wiggins, and all of these players plus picks could legitimately lead into them being a very nice trade destination for maybe a star that wants out. And they could legitimately, once again, reinvigorate them, trade for a star teammate, and boom, they're right back into championship contention, because all Steph Curry needs is a second guy that can get his own bucket consistently and is a star level player. And I think they could definitely make a trade for one if one becomes available with the amount of trade assets they do currently possess. And I just think overall, if they continue to draft fairly well, if they continue to make good moves, and if they continue to develop the young talent they do have, this team legitimately could become maybe a playoff level team and maybe even a high level playoff team once again, despite all of the challenges they've had to currently endure. So to really recap, yes, although the Warriors are probably going to end up blowing it up a little bit, they're probably going to be the end of the Big Three era we came to know and love and how fun it was to watch. I don't think this end of the era means the end of the Warriors. I think they can legitimately still be a very competent and competitive team going forward. They're just going to have to make a few adjustments and a few trades as Father Time kind of runs his course, and they're probably going to want to milk the very last bits of Steph Curry's career out of him while he's still a superstar level player, and I think the only way to do that is let Klay Thompson walk, kind of reconfigure your team, make some trades, and let's just see where you can go from there. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Warriors could legitimately still be a finals contending team? Do you think they could be a playoff team? I want your thoughts in the comment section below. If there's any point to like button and subscribe button, I mean the absolute word to me, and I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.